Hola, y'all. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back, y'all. My name is Elle, and this is my perspective. So today, what I want to show you is a little bit about my soft landing. So coming up, y'all, it's coming up in less than a week. In less than a week, I will have been here in Mexico, not in Merida, but in Mexico for a year. So I want to show y'all my first stop into Mexico. I flew into Cancun. So I flew into the Cancun airport. From there, I took an auto bus to Playa del Carmen. I was in Playa del Carmen for a week. We didn't work out. So I was in Playa del Carmen for a week. I knew going into this whole Mexico thing that I really wanted a soft landing. I did not want to do anything that was going to overwhelm me any more than being in Mexico for the first time in my life. I've never been to Mexico, nothing, nothing, nothing. I've only done my research on paper and videos and articles, like just things like that. So it's just essentially stuff on paper, nothing firsthand. So really wanted the soft landing. My Spanish that was under my belt was Duolingo. Y'all, Duolingo today is not the Duolingo of yesterday. So the Duolingo of yesterday, it really helped me a lot. We did it was like the back and forth conversations, like real life situations. That's how I learned, again, like I've said before, that's how I learned to um, get bus tickets. Um, when they did the update, I was actually in the part of, we were in a restaurant and learning how to disculpe, la cuenta, por favor. Y para ella, just ordering food in a restaurant. And then they did an update and they took all of it out completely because they had where you could go grocery shopping, where you could order stuff from a bakery, order at a restaurant, the ordering the bus tickets, all of those different things they had where you would essentially role play, and they took it out. So when I came to Mexico, I had Duolingo under my belt. That was my extent of Spanish. So to actually come someplace that was local and local owned and all of that, to me, it seemed overwhelming because again, this is me considering living in another country. I want to make it as smooth as a transition as possible. So I chose to do a soft landing. The hotel, I'm pretty sure it was called Residence Inn, and it was removed from like a lot of everything. It was like on the side of a highway. And I had to do a walk to do anything, either walk across the highway, which was like 6 lanes, walk across the highway to get to a mall, or just walk, what was it, like a quarter mile, half a mile? I like walking, but just that to my closest place would be a Sam's Club. That ended up being what I did, was to just go to Sam's Club, go to the Sam's Cafe, try to work on my Spanish by ordering food and some water, and then take it back to my hotel. I would try to order different things so that I could say different things. And just by looking at the menu, I was able to learn new words. Like a paqueta is a meal. So I didn't have that from Duolingo. So yeah, I would try to just do little things and decompress. My nerves were really kind of all over the place when I got to Playa del Carmen. Um, so what I want to show you is a little bit of how that hotel in Playa del Carmen looked like, and then let's go from there. So, okay, hopefully you see this. It's me just doing a little tour. I try to do a video of all the places so that any little nooks, scratches, or anything is on film before I unpack anything. So when we first came in, you saw two of my luggages. Those were right there at 50 pounds. One was a little bit over 50 pounds. Full size refrigerator. which I was going to be here for a week. If I needed to extend it, I was willing to extend my stay at this hotel, so this was fine. There were some scratches on that stove top thingy, so I wanted to make sure I had that on camera. Those are my other two pieces and parts. Y'all, they might look skinny and innocent, but oh my goodness, they are not. That was part of the highway that you saw right outside the window. I don't feel like I could hear the traffic really. I mean, it didn't bother me. It's my view again. And I did cross that highway a few times. I had an issue with using their Wi-Fi. So T-Mobile had sent me a message when I first got to Mexico telling me the amount of data that I had. And I don't know that that data would have been adequate for me. I had to do some business the same week that I landed. Like I had pushed it back a little bit so that I would be situated for a few days before I had to do some work. And having data was definitely important. But after I was on their Wi-Fi for a little bit, trying to again stretch my data, it ended up using my data. It was using my data like crazy, and I was running out of data. I think it was leaving me with maybe like a gig of data. Hold on just a second. So this shower, the glass, shoot, I should have said it beforehand. The glass only right here. Oops. So this is the door to the bathroom, but the glass just extends for a little bit and then there is nothing. Like there's nothing after that. So water just goes where water goes. And it's the same for where I am right here in Merida. There's glass. And where you see that where the glass stops, let me see if I can rewind it. Y'all can probably see it again. But where the glass stops. And so I have a squeegee that I use to get the water and all that jazzmatazz. But just to the left of this, so all of this is open. There is no sliding glass, nothing, nothing. And I have the same thing here in Merida. So at this place, what I did do is I would, like I said, walk to Sam's and walk back. That highway that you saw, I would walk across that highway. I ended up walking there. I wanted to get my data and my Mexican phone number later, like not that first week. I wanted to get it later, especially because T-Mobile said I had X amount of data that I could use. It's not unlimited. In the United States, I'm on unlimited data, but that's not the case once I got to Mexico. And so I didn't want to use up all of my data. But again, I had some work business that I needed to do. And when I'm doing work, it's me needing to use data for more than an hour, and I didn't want to risk it. So I just walked across that highway that you saw, walked across that highway. There was a mall just on the other side, went into there, into the Telcel, because when I had done my research, Telcel is kind of more Mexico wide than some of the other services that they offer, which may be good here, some of the main cities and in the main states and main cities of the main states or popular states is where some of those are good. And they're probably iffy in other places. Telcel seemed like it covered more of Mexico in general than the others. So I decided to go with Telcel because y'all already know me. Even if I'm not going to be moving all over the place, what if I just want to go visit and I don't want to have questionable service when I go visit. So I went with Telcel and got the largest amount of data because I in the United States never had to track how much data I was using. And my business calls that were taking place that same week, I did not want to be like, oops, my bad. Let's reschedule this session. Like, I didn't want to do that. So I just got the data and did that. But as I've been using data, I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'm not using that much data. But then with me in the hotel in Merida and in my apartment, I'm on Wi-Fi and the Wi-Fi is reliable. It's not using my data. The Wi-Fi at the Residence Inn used the Wi-Fi, but it was also using my data, even though I had turned cellular off. The only thing on my phone that I had turned on was Wi-Fi, but it was using my actual data. So no good. What else at that hotel? They did have a breakfast buffet. I went down there a few times to try to get food, but it was nothing that I wanted to try. The buffet was actually quite full, and I would just go and get some drinks and call it good. I might sit at a table and get three or four drinks. Like they had glasses. I would see if I could put a picture in here. Let me see. Let me see, guys. Let me see. But I would go and I would get drinks, the little glasses, do three or four refills, and then go back up to my room. Where did you guys go? So like I can't remember which is which, but I feel like it might have been this one was tamarind, but I was thinking that this one should be tamarind, or else this one was tamarind, and I have no idea what this one was. And then this one was water, but I'm like, I don't know where that water came from. True, it shouldn't have come out of nobody's tap. It should be safe to drink water, but who goes to a buffet and is like, oh, I want water? Like, I mean, probably somebody does do that, but when I have options to drink, I'm gonna go with the options. I'm not gonna go with the water. And then, can you see these glasses up here? These glasses are what they were. So that's why when I said I would just sit down at a table, just me with a glass and get like one of these, go sit down and just drink it and calm my nerves, y'all. My nerves were always on 10 in Playa del Carmen, always on 10. And then I just get another drink. Um, from what I understand, I think I was supposed to get a new glass every time, but the dishwasher in me was like, but why? So I would just get a new, just fill it up with something else. They had at one time, not this, but they had an orange drink. It was a thick orange drink. Like if I didn't know any better, I would say it was something like Tang or something. I don't know what Tang tastes like because we didn't have it, but yeah, it was some orange drink. So yeah, I would get my drinks. I felt really overwhelmed in Playa del Carmen the entire time that I was there. I was there for a week and I felt overwhelmed. My nerves could not relax. And it wasn't me. It was circumstances and situations that were happening that I was experiencing firsthand, and I didn't feel comfortable. I'm gonna give you one example. So landed in Cancun, took the auto bus from Cancun to Playa del Carmen, and I was in central of Playa del Carmen. And my luggage, again, my luggage minimum was 110 pounds. I am not much away from that weight. Okay. So, yes, I was struggling. Suitcases, guys, I did not do travel like that in the United States. So, yeah, my four wheels for suitcases, that's not what I had. I didn't have that. So, yeah, I was struggling. I was struggling. My suitcases had two wheels. Um, Yeah, so on the shoulders, two bags, and they will fall off while I'm trying to struggle with these two suitcases. Again, one of them is 50 pounds, like right over 50 pounds, and the other is like right at 49 something pounds. So, anyway, my nerves. I get off at the bus station. They don't have Uber, which I knew that. I knew you needed to do the taxis. And so a taxi is finally trying to negotiate a price with me. And I can't remember what I got it to, but we got it to 200 and something, right? 200 something pesos. We get in the ride, and as we're going, we're more than halfway to my destination, and dude raises the price of my ride. And so he rose it, I want to say about like 20 or 30 pesos. And I'm arguing with him that no, I am not. I don't have that. You will get paid what we agreed upon when I got in the car. And so I'm just like, no, but because my Spanish isn't that good. So I'm just like, no, the whole time. I'm like, no, no. And so he's like, yeah, you're going to pay me. And I'm like, no. So I'm just like really frustrated. Like, how do you, whose word do we go on when I agree? Like, we didn't write it down. We didn't agree to anything before I got in the car, but I know what I agreed to. And now you're trying to raise the rates. And so I'm ticked. And so then he starts speeding. And so now I'm more ticked because like for real, like, why do you have to speed? This isn't safe. And we're right there getting closer to the hotel because I don't know where it is, but I'm looking on my map to see where the hotel is and where we are to make sure we're going to the right spot and all those other things. And so just I'm not comfortable. And so we end up going around this roundabout thing. Um, sorry, it's not a roundabout. We were on like an off ramp. So like when you get off the off ramp off the highway, you get off the off ramp, and then we needed to do a roundabout, but we weren't there yet. We were on the off ramp, and so after you get off the off ramp, there was a stoplight, traffic light. The light was red. Everyone was stopped. Like the light is red. There are two rigs in front of us, and this dude is still like going fast, but he's looking at the rigs. And then all of a sudden, he tries to stop because I'm thinking maybe he thought that they were going to go, but they didn't because it's red light. So he ends up throwing down on his brakes. We don't stop. We are skidding because again, he's driving like a freaking bat. And so we just skid the entire time. So in Texas, what I'm used to, when you are speeding and not paying attention to traffic and things like that, what people usually do is they drive up on the shoulder because they're probably going to ram into the people in front of you. So they get up on the shoulder so that way they're not going to ram into somebody. Sometimes they do that stuff unnecessarily. Like, stop playing, like, just drive. Like, you only got one job when you in the car and you in the driver's seat, and that's to drive. So he didn't do that. He did not go on the shoulder either. What he ended up doing was he tried to wedge his car in between both rigs. So we are now at this weird angle because again, we're already skidding. And so we're edging. He steered it so that we are just at the beginning of going in between these two rigs. There is no space for a whole car to fit in between these two rigs. And so then he stops, like the car stops. We are inches from ramming into those cars. And at the angle that he was at, he was going to get hit. Like he was going to be messed up, hit and damaged and everything. And I don't know, but I feel like I was just going to get out the car and wait for another taxi. Um, what do you do in those situations? Like, I don't know. But I was just really ticked at him. I was ticked. Like, he's raising the rates, he's speeding because I'm not agreeing, or else he's just speeding for the fact of speeding. Whatever the case is, we almost ram into these two trucks, not one, but because of the way he wedged and did and steered the car, we're about to ram into two. So at that corner, which Playa, they have a lot of corners where the police officers are just there. Like, when I would do my walking, police officers are just on the corners hanging out, like looking at traffic. The traffic light is working just fine, but they are right there just hanging out, like, what y'all doing? And so when he saw that this man almost rammed into not one but two trucks, he comes off of that he comes off of that curb, walks over. The taxi driver rolled the window down, and all you hear is that police officer yelling at him. Have no idea what he was saying, but he was yelling at him. And then he stops and the police officer stops and looks in the back seat, and he sees me, and he goes off on a whole nother tangent to the taxi driver. And I'm up like, I don't even want to be here no more. I don't. And I hadn't even checked into the hotel. This is me coming from the bus stop in Playa del Carmen trying to get to the hotel to check in. This is my experience. And so, yeah, yeah. So he ended up yelling at that taxi driver for a while. And then we ended up going. He drove like he had some freaking sense. Once he got to the hotel, he kept saying, sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I did not acknowledge him at all because it's not okay. It's not okay. It wasn't okay. And he knew it wasn't okay. So yeah, I didn't accept his apology. I did not say it's okay. I did not say okay. I did not say anything. Give me my stuff. And then he was like, the rate, um, and so he agreed to the original rate of which we first started with. It was either original rate or a little bit lower than the original rate that we had agreed to. And so I'm just like, you kick rocks, man, kick rocks. So I'm mad. Of course, y'all, I'm shaking too, but I am also struggling with all of my suitcases. And so I get in and I'm fumbling with my Spanish, and I'm trying to just be like, okay, be easy. We learned this on Duolingo. Un reserva para, and then just said my name. And so they were like, huh? And so I said my name again. And I think they were just like, girl, what's your name? So I pulled out my passport, and she looked and she was just like, we, it's not ready yet. And so I went and I was like, okay. So I went to go sit down for like an hour. And after I sit down for an hour, then I go back and I check. And so, yes, your room is ready. It's been ready. They give me the key card to my room, tell me which floor to go to. I think I was on like the third floor, second or third floor. So once I get, let's say third floor. So once I get there, I'm going to my room. The key is not working. I cannot get into my room. Y'all, I have four freaking things that are weighing me down. So I'm like, oh my goodness, now I need to go all the way back down there again. And so there was a man in the hallway who also worked there. And he was like, what's wrong? And I was like, tarjeta, the card, it doesn't work. And so he was like, this isn't your room number. And I was like, no, do you see this number right here that she wrote on there? This number and this right here. And he was like, you're not supposed to be in this room. You're supposed to be in this room. So the lady downstairs put the wrong number on the key card. So the key card, let me say this again. The lady downstairs put the wrong number on the key card holder, but she did the key card for the correct room. So when I'm showing him, hey, let's just say it said 323. So when I'm showing him, it says 323, this is 323, I'm trying to get in. He's like, no, you're not supposed to be in 323. You're supposed to be in 325. She was on the walkie thing and she was asking if the room was ready. And he was saying, I just finished the room. So he would know because he is the one that she was saying, clean the room for me. So he's like, I cleaned 325. I did not clean 323. I cleaned 325. Your room is 325. So then he took the card and he went to 325, put the key card in, and it opened. So she wrote 323 on the envelope. And I'm like, what the? I'm glad this man was up here because I didn't want to go walk in with all these suitcases and to explain that 323, this key is not open in 323. I need a new key. And then she probably would have given me a new key for 323, but that wasn't the room that I'm supposed to be in. I'm supposed to be in 325. Anyway, so all that was cleared up. So yeah, it was little things like that. And I'm saying little things like that, but I want to make sure that you understand different people process things differently. And at that point, it's just overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed coming to a brand new country. Nobody's gonna know me. Like I have no friends, I have no family, I have no one that is waiting for me to arrive. Number one. Number two, I do not speak the language. Yes, that is my fault, but I'm coming here with that issue. Number three, I weigh X amount of weight. My luggage weighs X amount of weight. To do anything is overwhelming. Okay. Cancun is hot. When I was in Missouri, it wasn't hot. It's November. It wasn't hot. It was getting cold. It was getting cold. Kansas and Missouri, it's getting cold. So yes, to be hot and carrying, lugging this kind of weight behind you is a whole nother thing. And then y'all saw I still got my sweatshirt on because the planes and the airports are cold. When you're smaller like me, I'm always cold. So the sweatshirt, I'm just done. Okay. And the taxi ride where even without the accident, where I'm like, I can't even trust y'all to be honest with the price. Like you're raising the price and we're not even we agreed upon X, Y, and Z, and now you're trying to raise the price. And even if I did call someone else into the situation, like you could easily get me in trouble because you could be like, hey, we got into this fair. I told her that it was going to be 270, 280, whatever the case is. And now she only trying to pay me 230, 240. I don't know the numbers, y'all, but just that kind of thing. It's a he say, she say. Like, what is that? Why would you do that? I don't. And then I get to the hotel, the room isn't ready. That just means calm down, breathe, be easy, de-stress, and just do all that. And then it's time to get up and go through and not carry all the luggage. And now it's the wrong room and I'm just not sure. And this man is telling me this thing, and I'm like, nah, this is what the key cards say, the key. And he's like, girl, I just cleaned your room. It's this room down here. And so now I'm like, who's not doing their quality check? Like, how you gonna charge a room key for 325 and then write 323 on it? So again, it's just all the little things that were getting to me. So yeah, but soft landing in the fact that I felt if I needed to speak some English, somebody was going to be there for me. Like I did not know anything about Playa del Carmen. So I just felt like somebody was going to be there for me if I were to, this is me and my expectations. If I were to have booked something that was local, Spanish speaking local, like no American name to it at all, I would not expect you to know a drop of English. That's just me. My expectations are not for you to know any type of English. I don't know why, but that's what it is. And that's what I go by. So my thing is, I need to learn Spanish. I need to learn Spanish. I'm in your house. I need to learn Spanish. You don't need to know English. Nobody, I'm grateful if you know English, but it's not an expectation. But for some reason, when it's an American hotel, like Residence Inn, I just feel like, oh, they know English. But again, that's me coming from the United States to Mexico for the very first time. That was my thinking. I was quickly redirected. Like, yes, they did speak a little bit of English, but it wasn't the type of English that I was thinking, which was fine because I need to know Spanish. Don't make it that easy for me, because if you do, then why would I feel compelled to learn Spanish? Even though I'm in your house, like I will be like, oh no, they speak English as well. Like people, no, I don't want that. I want to be in the mindset of, girl, you need to know Spanish. Like this, they house, you need to know Spanish. Like if you trying to move into somebody else's house, you need to be accommodating to what they got going on, not them being accommodating to you. So me and my Spanish. Um, Needless to say, guys, Playa del Carmen, we did not work out, and I was fine with that. So at the end of my week, I left Playa del Carmen. I went back to the auto bus station. Came across another taxi driver. Dude was just like, do you speak Spanish? And so I was talking to him in Spanish. Um, my Duolingo Spanish. So I was speaking to him in Spanish, and he was like, "You know Spanish pretty good." And I was like, "Gracias." And so he was like, "But you don't know it well enough for me to charge you the rate of a Spanish speaker. So I'm gonna charge you the rate of a non-Spanish speaker." Again, this ride right here was probably like a 5 minute ride. I paid over 240 pesos. So yes, um, that was my last that was my last ride, because he was literally taking me to the auto station, to the auto bus station, to get from Playa del Carmen to Merida. Now, guys, listen to this. So I'm still really on edge. I'm really on edge. And this is just me being transparent. I'm on edge. I'm not feeling easy. I'm not knowing what to expect, because if it's anything like Playa del Carmen, I'm going back. I'm going back to the United States. I'm gonna have to research somebody else, and we're gonna have to figure something else out, because I'm not doing this. Like my vibe, my feeling, my vibrations, everything was just like, no, you gotta go. You gotta go. So again, that's me on this bus ride. At the auto station, when I got my ticket, I want to say that there were two or three different bus routes. I can't remember because it was a while ago, but I did not want the direct route. I'm pretty positive that there was a direct route, but I didn't want that one. I wanted the other one, which had stops. And so it took hours. I think it added an hour or an hour and a half on top of whatever the direct route would have been. And so I was fine with that. Once I got on that bus ride, I just started to relax, and I was relaxing more and more. And y'all, you see that sign. So to get from Playa del Carmen to Merida, that's where you pass that sign on the side of the road. That's it's like a Jaguar crossing sign. And it's a yellow sign, but it has the black cat on it, Jaguar. And so you know that it's Jaguar crossing. And so I was just looking, and I was sorry, y'all, I'm moving the thing, but I was relaxing, and my nerves were just calming down, and I wasn't thinking two steps ahead. Like I wasn't thinking, okay, how am I going to get my transportation? Are they going to be legit? Are they going to do this, this, this? How am I going to check into the hotel? Am I going to know my words? Let me rehearse the words to say to get into the hotel, because that's what I do, y'all. I know I'm always saying I don't know Spanish and things like that, but even though I don't know, if I feel like there's a phrase or something that I'm going to have to say, I'll pull it up and I'll practice the word, so that I can, when I stand before you, I'm saying it as close to what I believe is the proper pronunciation as possible. But I was just easy, and I was just looking, and I was like, this is really beautiful. Like the scenery is really beautiful. And then we went to a couple of towns. Again, not the direct route. So we stopped in a couple of towns, dropped some people off, picked some people up. A man got on the bus and he was selling snacks. And I was just looking like, these are some of y'all's treats, because again, I've never been to Mexico before. I don't even know what the snacks and foods or anything are. So I was looking and just seeing what the different snacks were, and just all of that. And I didn't get anything. I didn't get anything because I didn't want to have to use the bathroom on the bus. But yeah, just just enjoying it. And then once I got to Merida, then I went through the process. I went to Centro in Merida, completely different experience, completely different vibe. Like, yes, I still had my heavy suitcase, but I wasn't overwhelmed. And I actually, this much of me is like, man, I wish I didn't have my suitcases because I would love to have just stopped and walked around and enjoyed it. You know, that central, that location where I got off the auto bus. So it was really nice. I am not going to go any further into that trip or anything because I'll come back with a part two so that you can see what the hotel in Merida looks like that I stayed in. And then I'll give you some experiences that I had when I first got to that hotel. So until then, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything like that, y'all be nice. Put it in the comment section and I will chat with you guys later. Bye, y'all.